Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Outside, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I'd like to do is to create a Breguet Wannabe watch. I'm going to call it Breguet Nouveau 2023. Sounds more pretentious and gives it some boot. What I started with was the Breguet Classique 7174. It's got a 40 millimeter case. It's got white gold Breguet hands, Breguet style Arabic numbers. Has a caliber 502.3 SD, 3 hertz, automatic. It's got a silicone hairspring. Yeah, nothing that Abraham Breguet would have ever wanted to have in his watches. Anyhow, and then it has 45 hours charge to it. Now, the Breguet Nouveau is going to cost considerably less. The Breguet Classique 7174, the MSRP on it is in dollars is $22,700. The one we're making, the Breguet Nouveau, is 84 bucks. So quite a difference there, and one is more affordable than the other. And I think that ours is going to be a lot more fun because we get to make it ourselves. What I did is that I sort of cobbled together the watch. I haven't made it yet, but I put the dial down, and I put the hands on top, and then I put it inside the case just to make sure everything fit okay. And so what you see there isn't exactly right. Also, my Breguet hands had not come in yet, and once they do, I think it's going to look more like this. It's not going to. This is a. Forget about this. The stem on it. Whoops, the stem came out. The stem will be over here at 3 o'clock. I just removed the stem from this one. The stem will be over here at 3 o'clock rather than sticking out of the top. The one sticking out of the top will be that's a whole other story of that. I'm going to put that back here on my workbench. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, what I want to do is this. Here's the plan. We'll all get the same parts, and this is very important because what I want to do is that in 1 month time from now, I'm going to do a video on how to put all of this together. Okay, and so we'll then have our own watch. Now, here, what our watch is going to have is going to be 41 millimeters. It's going to be steel instead of white gold. It'll have Breguet style hands and numbers on it. You can see those pretty much. The dial on it is going to be, I was able to find an enamel dial. This is an enamel dial, which is sort of nice because the other one, the original, or the Classique 7174, is also an enamel dial. Now this one, we're going to be using a caliber 6498 clone. This is Chinese company. I think the one we have is by a company called Seagull, and we'll be looking at that in a second. Essentially, this is it. It's hand wound. This is where we're going to put the dial on the front. And it comes with some little parts we'll talk about in a second. These are crucial. So we have that. And then we have the case. Here's the 41 millimeter case. Again, I'll be talking about that. And then we have the hands. Okay, so let's get started, and I'm going to show you exactly what I ordered so that we can make this. And when we can make it all together. Now, if you want to change something like the color or something like that, feel free. You can have anything you want, but we're going to be using these exact parts. And so when we sort of put it together as a group project, you'll see, if you get these parts, you'll see what we have and what we're putting together. So now the first thing, of course, is that we have to get a movement for it. Now this, first of all, I went to AliExpress. All right, and they have some shops that they're connected up with in China, and the U.S. and some other places actually. So this is AliExpress.us. They have one AliExpress for other different regions and different countries. For the movement, there's a company who's called Rojozor Professional Watch Restaurant Movement Store. Okay, that's the name of it. And this, you can see the picture there. This is the movement we got. And the reason for this particular movement, you can't see it here too well. Perhaps you can see it in the picture over there a little better. It's got a long, like needle nose for a regulator stem. And so you move that stem back and forth. And because it's so long, it's easy to see. And, for an amateur, if you're a professional, you don't have to worry about a thing. But if this is the first time you put something together, we can also regulate it. You'll need a time grapper for that. But I thought, well, that'd be a nice thing to have. And also you can take the back off of the case easy enough and do it that way. Now, this particular one is $34.06. And it's for the 6498. It's extremely important that you find the numbers 6498. Now, this is not an ETA 6498, but they still use the same numbers. This one is called an ST 3621, and then they have /ETA 6498. Here's where the problem can come in. Some of the movements that look exactly like this will say 6497. Now let me tell you what the difference is and why this is a crucial difference. On your 6498 down here, you're going to have the second hand. And when we look at the dial, we can see, let me put my gloves on so I don't gum up the dial yet. I'll gum it up at some time probably. Okay. So right here, I can see this at the bottom. You can see it. I shouldn't have it. There is where the second hand goes. If you have a 6497, the dial will be up here, and so this dial won't work with a 6497. So be careful about that. Watch very carefully that it says 6498. This is from the Rojozor Professional Watch Company. The price in the U.S. dollars is $34.06. I don't know what it is in euros and won and what are they called, rubies or any other currency. But be sure to look for the 6498. That's going to be the important thing. Now, there are going to be two parts with it. One looks like a little gear, and what that gear is for, it goes over the, you'll have an hour hand, and then you have this little gear and sleeve for the minute hand that goes over the, wait a minute, maybe that's the hour hand. Well, anyway, it goes over the middle, let me show you right here. It will go over this middle one right here, and that it won't work without it. So you need that little gear, and you can see it. It'll be in a little thing that comes with it. Okay, and then there's a little washer, and the washer has a little, it's sort of bent like that, and so you put the gear on the center one, and then you put the washer on top of that. So you're going to need both of those, okay? And they come with this particular movement. That's why I suggested it. Okay, now this is from AliExpress. So is this. I got all of the parts at AliExpress because they were inexpensive and they're accessible. Now the dial I got is 38.9 millimeters. For the 41 millimeter case, you don't need a 41 millimeter dial. You need something a little smaller so it'll fit. The one that they suggested is 38.9 millimeters. As you saw in the picture that I had up there, it fit just perfectly into the 41 millimeter case. So it's 38.9 millimeters. It's for the 6498 white enamel. Okay, you want to, I mean, the white enamel one just makes it a little nicer. A lot of people have never had an enamel dial on their watch, so this will be something fun. Okay, so that one costs $12.99. Again, in different currencies, it'll be different. Now, the case, this is very important. They have a lot of huge cases for this, but the smallest one I could find, when I say smallest, I mean the smallest diameter, was a 41 millimeter. The movement we're using, the 6498, was originally for a pocket watch, which was a little bigger than this, but this is only 1 millimeter bigger than the Breguet Classique that we're trying to making a wannabe from it. Okay, so this is from a place on AliExpress called Watch Shop 777, and there you can get both the enamel dial. Okay, the dial has the Breguet numbers on it. Okay, and then you can get the 41 millimeter sapphire crystal 316 case for it. Okay, so those are the next things. Okay, now next are the hands. Now, my hands haven't come yet. I made a mistake and ordered the wrong ones, and so had to reorder them, and so they're on their way. Now, this is from a place, again, this is at AliExpress. It's called the Guten Official Store. And in it, you can find these. Now, here again, the number 6498 is really important because the size of the post that the hands go on are different for different size movements. So if you get them for, let's say, some other size, a 2498 or something like that, they're not going to fit right. You're going to be unhappy, and we don't want that. Okay, so again, look for 6498. Now you'll notice that on this particular one, it also says 6497. Well, that's okay here because the same hands will fit either one. The big difference is that the subdials for the 67 or 97 go over at 9 o'clock. We don't want that. We want the ones that go at 6 o'clock. The handset will go on either one, so it doesn't matter, but it's got to be one or the other. And so if you go to the Guten Official Store and look for the ones that have two little, they're called pomes or apples on the tips. The bottom hole is for the hour hand, the minute hand, and then it's got a little bitty one for the second hand. Have a stiff drink before you put that one on. Okay, so that's a Guten Official Store, and these are $3.93. Okay, if you order them all together, sometimes you can save on shipping. Now, some of the basics, you don't need all of these. These are called finger cots, and the purpose of having finger cots is so you don't put your hands have a lot of oils in it, and you don't want to get that all over your case and all over their watch, really. So what we try to do is that we put these finger cots on our opposite fingers. So you usually only need 3 of them, and you put them on your off hand. So if you're right-handed, as most people are, you'd put them on your left hand. Or if, like me, you're left-handed, then you'd put them on your right hand. And so in your off hand, you have the finger cots, and then in your dominant hand, you have a screwdriver or tweezers or something like that. By the way, too, the way that we were told, this is from some courses I took, This is the only correct way to hold a screwdriver. You put your finger on top and then you move it with your fingers below. Now you learned something important. Okay, now, picture there, beside the finger cots, you're going to need some tweezers. Now, I would recommend, after going through several different tweezers, or getting brass ones if you can. If you already have some metal ones, that's okay. The problem is sometimes they get magnetized, all right? And so if you put them next to a screw, they stick on the screw, and you don't want that. You want something that is free of any magnetization. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, and so I would suggest this. Some very good ones you can get that are non-magnetic. Let me show you which ones. My workbench that I have. Okay, these are very good ones, and I forgot the name of it. These are by Dumont. Okay, these are really excellent ones. At least for the first day, they're non-magnetic, but after use, they seem to get magnetized. Ones that never will, but they're not quite as fine, and you gotta carve them every now and then. They have them with wooden tips. The ones with wooden tips I like too, but they're for maybe picking up, if you want to pick up your dial and you don't want to scratch it, and you will be picking it up. Usually you pick it up by what are called the feet. On the back of your dial, they have what are called feet that will be going into, that holds the dial to the movement. We'll be talking about that later. Okay, you're going to need a loop too. There are different kinds of loops. If you have, there are basically two kinds. One kind, this is your typical loop, and usually between 3x and 6x. Don't get really, 20x or 10x or something like that. You won't be able to see very much. I would say probably your best bet would be around 5x would be enough to see what you need to see. Now they also have wires that you can hold it on, and you'll see a lot of professional watchmakers now have those wires with these on it. Those are excellent. I like to work with my glasses on, and so the ones I got have a little clip, and you just clip them on your glasses like so, boop, like that, and then you can work with both hands. That's the important thing about it, is so you can work with both hands. So you can use some wider, some really fancy ones for doing inspection, but for making it, for example, this red tip screwdriver, this is a very small screwdriver, and the screws are very small, and you will need a magnifying, or you'll need a loop to get everything together. The only two screwdrivers that I would recommend, unless you're going to be doing it more often, is one with a purple band and one with a red band. They simply indicate the different sizes, okay? For the most part, we're going to be using the one with the red band on it, and we're not going to be using it very much, really. We don't need screwdrivers too much, but we do need it for certain things. The one with the purple band we'll need for, I believe, mainly for the securing the dial feet to the movement. Okay, so these are the things that you're going to need. I got a little toothpick, they're helpful, a little pad, those are for putting your dial on. In the background, that green thing is a non-magnetic work pad. They're very, very handy to have. So anyway, here's the plan. Get the parts. They take about 2 or 3 weeks, depending, from China. AliExpress, I've had very good luck with them, and with the stores on AliExpress, with the parts. If you get everything like that, then when we're working together, when we're making our Breguet Nouveau 2023 watch, we'll all have the same parts. Now, one thing I can recommend, if you've never made your own watch, we're going to be using this same construction sequence as one of Mark Lovick's videos. He's got a video that's called Build Your Own Custom Watch Using Parts from eBay. This is back from 2018. Good grief, that's 5 years ago, I guess now. Anyhow, so if you want to get an early start, or you want a preview of what we're going to be doing together, and the sequence we're going to be doing it, I put there the URL for it. It's sort of long, but you can just look for Build Your Own Custom Watch with Parts from eBay. But there's a picture. You can see Mark. He's I don't know, there's something about the guy I really like. He's very, very easy, and he goes through everything you need. He also shows some things. For example, there's something that's called a hand tool. And what the hand tool does, there's little holes in it, and you can push the hands on. What Mark does, he shows you how to do the same thing. You simply take one of these little cellophane or plastic parts bags, and you put it on it, and then you press on it with the fat end of your tweezers. And so you don't need a lot of parts with Mark. Now, the one last thing that we're going to need, and I figured I'd leave that up to you. I'll have a whole lot of suggestions for it, but are the straps. I have so many extra straps that I'll just put one of them on, so I'm not in any big hurry to do that. I believe the size of the where is it? Here it is here. This size right here, I believe these are 20 millimeters, 20/18. And what that means is that they're 20 millimeters and then they taper to 18 millimeters at the tips of them. So that's probably what I'll be using, but they also have 20/16 if somebody wants a different style of it. With this particular case, this is the 41 millimeter case that we're going to be using. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you want to join us in this, in 1 month from now, I'll be be starting off on this. And it's going to be in a video, so it's something that there's no rush on it, because you can follow the video and stop it and then do what you have. Practice using Mark Lovick's thing. He's really great on it and very calming, and I think that you can that we'll be using pretty much the same sequence. So even if you want to get started early, it's not a problem either. But if we do it all together, we can make the same mistakes together. Let me know what you think. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. And it's always an opportunity to subscribe if you like.